Hi everyone, welcome to Rusted Pliers. Today I'm going to be upgrading my 2011 Nissan Altima. I really love this car. I had it for a long time. It handles fine. It's really fast. I got 215,000 miles on it and still running great, but I would like to upgrade my stereo system. So right now my numbers are going out and I would like to update it to have Bluetooth capability as well as Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So I did get a stereo system on Amazon for around $100, and I'll show you how to put it in. This is what all comes with a stereo system that I got off Amazon. So this is a 9-inch touchscreen display. Already has the cutout for your AC right here. This will work for a 2008 to 2012 Nissan Altima, so it still has all the same type of dash there. It comes with your wire harnesses that you need, some USB hookups, user manual, backup camera, GPS, and microphone. Before you remove your radio, you want to make sure to eject any CDs that you have remaining. If not, you may lose them forever. When it comes time to remove your radio, the first step you have to do is take off the battery cable. We want to disconnect all power to the radio in the car. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off this air vent. Be careful, you can crack this, but what I like to do, lift up here and create a little gap between the air vent and the radio. You can use these little panel tools, they're nice to get up and under there, but I'm going to use a screwdriver just in case you don't have one of those panel tools. I'll lift up, create a little bit of space, and just gently work that out all the way around the bottom. And there you go, and then pull out while you're doing it. And that comes out. If you look, we'll have two connections here. One goes to the airbag sensor and one goes to your hazard lights. There'll be two little tabs here that you have to press. You press down and then pull those out. Good. Set that to the side. And here's your two little connections here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off another small panel on the underside of the radio. If you pop open your little access here, you can get your hand under there, grab it, and it'll pop right off. No tools required. The next thing, we'll take a Phillips screwdriver. There's 4 screws holding in the radio itself, 2 on the top and 2 underneath that panel that we just removed. So I'm going to take those out. Alright, once those are pulled out, now you can just take your radio and give it a nice little pull. And there it comes. So I'm going to pull it all the way out. You'll see I have several connections here. I'm going to just start unplugging things. It's not going to be too difficult to know where each one was because they all have different connections. Show you what those look like. So here's the back side of the radio. You can start, push down, pull out, push on that tab, pull out, and I think we have one more there. Push down, pull out. So now our radio is completely removed. Now you can see we have the new radio and the old radio out. As you notice with the new radio, we don't have any AC controls, we don't have a bracket, so we'll have to take that off the old radio. So I'm going to remove my AC heater controls, and I'm also going to have to take this bracket and put it onto here. It does take a star bit. Fortunately I had one, a little inconvenient if you don't. Here's the new radio with the bracket installed. Pretty easy, there was only 4 places. Connect the AC heater right here. And then screw the bracket to the new radio right here on these top tabs. Almost ready to put the new stereo in the car. If you're going to use the backup camera provided, you need this bundle. Go ahead and hook it up. Connect one end to where it says camera. I know the manual says video out, but I'm connecting it to camera. Connect your red wire to where it says back. Splice that. I always like to tape it. All my other connections are set. I'm not going to use these right now. I'll use those for the rear view camera. I'm not using the microphone. It does have a built-in microphone that I think will work just fine. Then I have my USBs here. I'll show you what I did in a minute with those. A few things before we put the stereo into the car. You want to install your GPS sensor. It's right here. So I chose to use this little right angle bracket that I installed onto the frame. The holes were already there, so I just used a little screw and a nut to put that to the frame. It doesn't matter a whole lot where you put it. You just want to make sure that there's no obstruction above it, that there's no metal pieces. So even right here, I don't have any metal right above it. It kind of looks like I do from that angle, but the only thing that is right above it is this plastic piece of the air vent. There's a few places you could put it. You might could put it on top of that cross member. There's a cable that runs there that makes that a little difficult. You could also use some places over here by the glove box. The big thing, you just want to make sure that it's facing up and it doesn't have any obstruction. Another good place, if you could route your wires, is right here at the front of the dash. But it would be difficult to run your wires. So I think this will work fine. You only need this if you're going to use offline maps. If you're using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it'll use your phone's GPS. But this is in case you want to use offline or downloaded maps. So I have those hooked up. The other thing is the USB connections. What I did was I put two phone chargers here. So I have a Android USB-C and an iPhone charger. I drilled a little hole there in the back, just large enough to where I could get these through. That way I can store these cables. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug my USB back to the radio, so it has places for USB there. If you're going to use the backup camera on the car, so take this bundle. We're not going to use it right now, but shove it over here to the side while we put the radio in, and then we can pull those wires to the back whenever we need it here later. Alright, I've made all my connections now. I have two back to the radio and one to the AC unit, so just 3 connections total. Have my GPS plugged up and my 2 USB cables, and then also my wire back to the backup camera. So now all we have to do is align this, put it back into the holes, push that in. Voila, already starting to look real good. So then I just go back and I put my 4 screws in. Remember, you had 2 in the front here and then 2 at the bottom under there. This is looking very nice. Now we have to put our AC vent back on. Let's make your connections. May have to wiggle this a little bit to get it into place. There we go. Look at that, it looks nice and clean. I like these trim. All the edges are shown, no big gaps. Don't forget to put your little plate back on. So, put that right there. Snaps on just like that, and we're looking good. All right, let's turn it on and see what we get. All right, I got everything put back together. This looks really nice. I'm excited for it. Nice and clean. All the edges look like it's factory made. Doesn't look like something that's aftermarket. So I'm gonna turn it on, show you a little demo. All right, automatically you come up with this home screen. We'll go to the radio. Very nice radio, sounds really good. This search function right here, it'll automatically do a search all across stations, and then it'll find all these stations here so that you don't have to search. All the stations that it finds will be populated here. Sounds great. Go home, show you a few functions. Here is your speedometer here. It'll show you that GPS that we installed. It'll be tracking that. You can go to apps. You can also connect to Wi-Fi. You can go to different apps like YouTube. Be a good chance to subscribe and like Rusted Pliers videos. All different kinds of apps. And when you connect to Wi-Fi, you can get on the Google Play Store and then download other apps such as games and stuff. You plug in your phone. This is really neat. So it comes up with your phone home screen. I'm using Android Auto right here, but you can see I have access to my messages, my phone calls, Spotify, and some other accounts. You can get Google Maps set up. Really neat stuff right here to have Android Auto on this older car. I can go back to my home screen if I want to set up with my messages and stuff, but then go back to the radio. Cool stuff. So the great thing about this, you can stop here if you don't want the backup camera function. I probably want to take a break and then go install the backup camera later in a few days. But if you already have that function, great. This looks real nice. I'm real excited about how this turned out. We're now ready to work on our backup camera. So that bundle of wire that we passed through the center console, you want to bring it around here to the side. So I have the wire coming out right there. And for now, I'm just going to leave this on the outside while I do all my testing. I'm going to bring that here to the back, show you what's going on. So you'll want to pop off this cover. There's two little tabs right here. It just has those plastic tabs. Pop those out and you can access your wiring to your reverse light. And that's what we're going to tag into, is we're going to tap into the reverse light here, so that when the car's in reverse, the camera's powered. So you don't have to take the light off. I did, just to find out which one is the reverse light. So there, my reverse light is that red wire. Go into my reverse light. I followed it all the way through, and I'll tap in right here. So I'll tap my red wire on my camera and the orange wire on the RCA to the red wire, and then my ground wire right there, so the black on the camera. Be very careful when you're doing this that you don't cut this wire. Just pull back the insulation, then I'll tap into it. After you tested the camera from the outside, go ahead and pull off this cover on the trunk lid. There's a couple tabs, these rubber stoppers. You can get a screwdriver and pull all these out. Pull that back, and you look, and there's 3 nuts up there holding the top cover. So I'm going to take each one of those off, and then when we do that, we'll be able to pull this piece off right here. Got the camera installed. I'll show you what I did. So I still have this removed, but I put the camera on. I used a little larger screws. I didn't trust the ones that came with it. I cut a little slot right here in the cover so that my wire could pass through, and then I also drilled a 1/2-inch hole into the trunk lid so that I could pass the RCA wires through. So I can put this back on, snap it in place, put the 3 nuts back on, and then we'll move on to the wiring. Now it's time to move our RCA cable all the way to the trunk. So I have it right here. My plan is I'm going to tuck it under this baseboard right here. You can lift it up and just tuck it under there all the way along to the back. So same thing, lift that up, tuck it under there, and then when we get here to this back seat, have it folded down, and you can just sit it and put it deep into the seat and pass it all the way to the back here. And I'll show you what the trunk looks like. So I can fold this down. There's my seat. So I'm going to pass it all the way down here, and we have to come to this connection right here. Before I hide these wires, I want to make sure to explain what's going on. So you have your RCA video output coming from the camera. It's going to run all the way back to the stereo unit. Then you have your power for your camera right here. You're going to plug it into your red and black leads. You want to make sure to tie your red and your orange trigger wire together. So what that does is when the reverse light comes on, it's going to trigger to turn on the stereo. It's also going to power on the camera only when that reverse light is on. So I have those 2 tied right there. Then you have these leads, your black and your red. Your black and your red are just going to go back here. For me, my red was my reverse light and my black was my ground. So I'm going to tie into those and then tuck in all my wires and cover everything back up. Got the camera put on and everything back together. Camera looks real nice. Can't really notice it there. Got our wire sticking up through there. Put the cover back on. I ran all my wires along this conduit here. So I did have to add some additional wire. When I closed the trunk, it got tight, so keep that in mind. Going back there to the reverse tail light. The other wire I sent to the back seat, ran it along through here. And then in the front, you can't see any wires. Tucked it under there and ran it back to the stereo. Alright, let's try it out. Got the car on. Comes to the home screen of the stereo system with your radio, your GPS. So I'm going to kick it in reverse. And when I do, that powers on the light. And wow, look at that nice screen. Huge view. So as you go in reverse, you can see it. All right, let's say you go into drive, it goes back to home screen, and your radio would kick it back on, but I have it off. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope this helps. If it did, don't forget to like and subscribe.